our worst fears have come to pass. The One Ring has revealed itself, and as the Fellowship prepares for its perilous journey to Mount Doom, the shadow of Sauron stretches forth to reclaim it. In ages long past, the Witch King gathered a dark army in Angmar. Once again, he calls a vast horde from the depths of Doom to march upon the lands of Middle-earth and lay them to waste. Aragorn and I hoped the Rangers alone could hold back the Witch King's advance, and that Angmar's strength had not yet grown too great. We were wrong.
Gosh! Fight!
You must unite the free peoples of Eriador and inspire them to stand against Sauron. For if you do not oppose the army of Angmar, then all the lands of Middle-earth will fall forever into darkness and shadow. War is at hand. The time is now.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online. This is Gnarlo here. Say hello to everyone, Gnarlo. Good boy. As you can see, we have dressed for the occasion. Thought this might be a little bit more appropriate than our usual burglary rags that we're wearing, because it is a special day and a special episode. Number one, they're starting to open up server transfers once again. So I think it's everyone on Eldamar, and on the European side, everyone on Estelle are being allowed to transfer now. But beyond that, it is the special recap episode of Volume 1, Shadows of Angmar. We have finished Volume 1. In the last episode, 277, Part 2. What a long journey it has been. 4 years and 277, probably close to 290, if you count all the multiple part episodes, that it has taken us to get there. So we are here in benefiting the occasion. We are here inside of Bag End, and this is where we will start the recap. Start the summary of everything that has gone on before. So sit back, and hopefully this will be a good reminder of every place we have been and everything we have done as we've been fighting against the evil in the north that has been trying to sweep down over Eriador, while the attention of the Rangers and Gandalf has had to be elsewhere on more important matters. So we will see you again in just a bit as we start this summary episode. We start off our journey here in the Shire. Just a simple, normal, everyday hobbit wandering down a road in Tookland late at night whenever we come across a bounder who seems to be somewhat troubled. While conversing with Bounder Boffin, we are interrupted by the sudden appearance of Frodo Baggins, Samwise Gamgee, and Peregrine Took, 3 hobbits also traveling in the middle of the night on a long journey from Hobbiton. As we are talking to them, a sudden feeling of dread comes upon one and all. The 3 hobbits go running off into the woods to hide as a black hooded figure on a black horse comes riding up, asking, "Where is Baggins?" The Black Rider rides off, and Gnarlo and Bounder Boffin seek shelter in the nearby farm. While there, they suddenly come across two hobbits, Celandine Brandybuck and Mundo Sackville-Baggins. The two hobbits have come in for the farm from the other side, where they have also been running from pursuit. However, in their case, it is a group of brigands who are also looking for someone named Baggins. Unfortunately, we are all overwhelmed and taken prisoner by the brigands, who take us far to the east, to the land of Breland, and where we are held in a prison in their encampment, just to the east of a small town called Archet. Fortunately, we are rescued from our predicament by a strange and hooded man who calls himself Strider. He and Bounderboffin come around to all our cells and rescue us, Mundo, and Celandine. We find out that he belongs to a group of men known as the Rangers, and he and his friend Amdir are here to rescue us and to protect the borders of the lands of Bree. Unfortunately, during the course of the rescue, the Black Rider reappears, and while we are trapped behind a locked gate, Amdir is forced to confront him alone, and he is stabbed by Morgul Blade. The fire chases off the Black Rider, and we are able to rescue Amdir and make our way back to the town of Archet.
Wounded by a Black Rider, the Ranger Amdir escaped with his charges into the wild, making his way back to the village of Archet.
There, Captain Brackenbrook, a retired sellsword, has allowed Strider and his companions to stay and take respite from their cares.
So Strider and the injured Ranger Amdir lead the hobbits back to the town of Archet. There we are tasked with two very important missions. One, we have to find something that can cure Amdir of his horrible wound from the Morgul Blade. And two, we must convince the very stubborn Captain Brackenbrook that the town of Archet is under a danger of being attacked and destroyed by the Blackwalled Brigands, the group of thugs who have taken refuge and set up camp inside the forests which surround Archet. Brackenbrook is a victim of the unfortunate distrust of the Rangers which infects the people of Bree, and does not believe us until finally we are able to convince him. However, then it is too late. The only road out of Archet has already been barricaded by the Blackwalds, and they are planning on attacking that evening. All hope is not lost, however, as John Brackenbrook, Captain Brackenbrook's son, has been exiled to a nearby hunting lodge. We send word to him about what is going on at the bequest of his father, and John knows a rear entrance to get into the city and to attack the Blackwalled bandits from their rear. We bring the battle into town and attack the Blackwalds. The fighting is fierce, and many of the town's inhabitants are killed in the melee. But it looks like we are about to receive the winning hand as allies begin to join with us, and we nearly overcome the bandits. But just as it seems we are going to be victorious, two Karguls, lesser wraiths who have been turned and who are under the power of the Witch King himself, appear in the town. They are responsible for the death of Captain Brackenbrook, and then they lead Amdir, the injured ranger, away as their prisoner.
With the Blackwall's grip on Archet broken, the hobbits hurry home to the Shire, eager to return to their simple, peaceful lives. But not all is as peaceful as it seems. Troubles stir at the bounds, and a shadow of fear is left in the wake of the Nazgul.
After our ill-fated adventure in Archet, we travel back to the Shire, and a series of adventures leads us to the far north of it in an area known as the Greenfields. There, we make the acquaintance of another ranger, one named Hauros. He has come into the Shire following rumors of disturbing incursions into the peaceful farming community of lovable, lazy, sleepy, fat hobbits. He sends us out to gather information, and we discover that several bands of goblins have set up encampments on the northern edge of the Shire along the Greenfields, and they are sending incursions dangerously close to the quiet communities just short distance to the south. We also find over at the quarry at Scary that a group of hideous giant spiders has overrun the quarry, and that work there has come to a cease. The Ranger Hauros, the Bounder Primrose, and Gnarlo travel to the cave that houses the leader of the Goblin tribe, and for a time leave it leaderless with the defeat of their captain. Hauros, however, has an unsettling thought that for some reason the Rangers are no longer patrolling the northern edge of the Shire. He therefore suggests that we travel to the town of Bree to the east, where he says that the chief of his tribe, Strider, is currently waiting for us in an inn known as the Prancing Pony.
Saruman's treachery has delayed me too long. I can only hope that Frodo and Sam have left the Shire. Without my aid, their road will be a perilous one. Frodo must rely upon the Rangers and your prowess to see him to the end.
So we set out to Bree, having been tasked by the Ranger Haldir to set out to the Prancing Pony and to look up the chieftain of his people, Strider. And at this point in the game, we should get very, very used to being tasked by the Rangers with various jobs, as it will become an ongoing theme in the future. Arriving in Bree, we travel to the courtyard of the inn known as the Prancing Pony. Within the pony, we are directed back to the rooms of the Ranger Strider. Strider tells us that he has but a short time, as he is waiting for a party of travelers who has not arrived here at the pony yet. However, he agrees that Amdir is a very powerful threat to all the free peoples here in the Breeland area, and therefore he will accompany us to see what can be done about this fallen ranger. We accompany Strider late one night with the company of two other rangers, Linglin and Torthan, to a black-walled encampment and some ruins to the south of Breetown proper. Fighting our way to the rear of the encampment, high upon a pedestal, we come across 5 of the Nazgul, carrying out the final rites which will transform the Ranger Amdir into a Kargul, a lesser wraith underneath their direct power. Unable to halt the ritual in time, Aragorn chases after the fleeing 5 Nazgul into the night, leaving Gnarlo and Torthan to deal with the falling Ranger Amdir. After a challenging battle, the two of them are able to end the Kargul's time upon this earth and to send the spirit of Amdir off to his rest.
The Nazgul have crossed the Eisen and are heading for the Shire. The hobbits must be quick-footed enough to escape the wrath of the Nine. And we can only hope that Frodo slips through the traps of the enemy.
With the threat of Amdir put to ease, Aragorn sends Gnarlo to the nearby town of Coombe to look up Constable Underhill, the local authority of Breetown in the small town of Coombe. We are sent to travel with Constable Underhill to be sure that the black-walled menace to the towns around Bree is truly at an end. The constable and Gnarlo travel deep into the local caves which serve the Blackwold bandits as their headquarters. There, in the far back of the cave, they come across the bandit leader being confronted by an undead dwarf named Skorgrim. Skorgrim insists that the Blackwold pledge their allegiance to Angmar, but even the hardened leader of the bandit thugs can tell that this is a bad thing to do, and Skorgrim strikes him down, thus ending the leadership of the Blackwolds in the Bree area.
The rangers which once guarded the borders of the Shire have been scattered or slain. Frodo has left the Shire, but great perils await him in Bree. I am too late. Someone must find him before the Nazgûl.
Gnarlo returns to the Prancing Pony and gives Strider the news of the Blackwolds. He reveals to us that his charges, 4 hobbits from the Shire, have arrived at the Prancing Pony, but that the pony was attacked during the night by 4 Nazgûl, searching for the 4 hobbits. He tells us he cannot leave himself as he must protect his wards. He asked if we will go in his stead to the west to the Shire community of Buckland, where a ranger named Langlin has been posted, looking for the 4 very hobbits that are now in Bree. He wishes to find out from Langlin if there's any news of any strange going-ons on the eastern edge of the Shire. We find Langlin only to discover that 4 Black Riders have moved through the Shire, and in fact he has been injured by them while they were moving through Buckland. He asks that we travel into Buckland itself and find out what they have left in their wake, as he has seen the spies of the enemy in the form of the evil crows, the Crebain, have moved into Buckland and are keeping it under their watchful eye. Gnarlo travels to the small Buckland settlement of Crickhollow, where Frodo and the hobbits had moved after leaving Hobbiton. There he finds Fatty Bolger, who says that the hobbits have fled into the Old Forest after the Crickhollow settlement was attacked by Black Riders. While he's talking to us, the Crebain swoop in, and we must fight them off in order to keep them from taking the information back to their evil masters. We tell Langlin our news, and he worries that Crebain have flown into the Old Forest, and that they know that the ring has moved, and that they may be seeking out their dark masters in order to tell them that the hobbits have fled there. He sends us back to Aragorn to give him the bad news. Aragorn tells us that there's one who may help us be able to find the Crebain in the trackless vastness of the Old Forest, and that we should search out someone known as Tom Bombadil. We travel to the easternmost edge of the Old Forest, where we come across a curious but strangely welcoming house, and within we find its unusual occupant, the unusual spirit known as Tom Bombadil. Tom sends us on a few errands while he does an investigation, and he discovers that the Crebain have moved through the Old Forest and into the Barrow Downs. He sends us into the Downs in search of their Crebain's master. Within the Barrow Downs, we follow the Crebain scouts to their master, Andras, the first one of the servants of Angmar that we have come across, and also discovering at the same time that Angmar has something for large, chesty women. We are able to defeat the Crebain, and we also take down their master, Andras, and return to Tom Bombadil with the news.
What road did you take, Frodo? The ringwraiths ride openly in the Shire, but there are places which are even more terrible and dangerous. If you choose the path I fear, search for the light in the darkness.
Tom is disturbed to find that Andras speaks of the Witch King traveling to the Great Barrow within the Barrow Downs. He takes us there, where we find the Witch King and the undead dwarf Skorgrim traveling into the Barrow. We follow them down into the depths. where we find Sambrog, a White Lord that the Witch King has awakened in order to take the place of Amdir, the fallen ranger who we have defeated. Before Sambrog fights us, he monologues for a bit and allows us the information that the Pale Dwarf, the undead Skorgrim, is going to the north to Angmar to lead the Witch King's armies there, and that the Witch King himself has traveled further to the east to the Red Marsh of Angmar, where he has spoke to a Gaunt Lord who is going to awaken an evil power in the waters of the swamp in order to attack the free peoples from the east. Sambrog gives us a very difficult fight until at the very end the roof of the barrows rent asunder as Tom Bombadil appears and splits the barrow open for the sunlight to stream in and destroy the White Lord. He tells us that our work in the barrows is done and sends us back to Breland, where he says we have a friend waiting for us.
Saruman the White has become the jailer of Mordor. It was he who orchestrated my capture and imprisoned me atop Orthanc. Gwaihir the Windlord came to my rescue and saved me from this accursed tower. All would have been lost if Strider hadn't found Frodo and the hobbits.
We return to the Prancing Pony to find Strider gone. Questioning Barlaam Butterbur, the tavern keep, he tells us that we are awaited in one of the rooms upstairs by yet another visitor, the wizard Gandalf the Grey. Gandalf is troubled by our news and tells us that it is very important that we find out what is going on with the Gaunt Lord in Angmar and what the Witch King's plans are. He says, unfortunately, he has something that is of even more importance than that he must attend to. So he asks that we enlist the aid of what rangers remain in the Breland area to find a colleague of his, one Radagast the Brown. And that ends the recap of Book 1, Stirrings in the Darkness. Next time, we will start on the recap of Book 2, The Red Maid. We will leave you here. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.